Arsenal 3, Manchester United 1. 2 late Arsenal goals hurt Manchester United at the death there, and once again we lose away from home. Obviously, we're going to put the link up in just a second as people file in. They'll file in certainly. Look, it's really, really disappointing to lose, particularly in the manner that we did. And some people might not like what I've got to say about this. They might say, "Oh, Owen, you're making up excuses, toxic positivity, and stuff like that." But I'm going to be honest. I thought we were really unlucky. I thought we were unfortunate. I mean, did we play the perfect game or anything like that? No. And it's very Ole Gunnar Solskjaer-esque to say fine margins, but realistically, that's what it is. I mean, it was really fine margins. I've just seen Erik ten Hag on the television, speaking to Sky, saying that he feels that the Alejandro Garnacho VAR decision was wrong, and he thinks that Garnacho was onside. And I can see what he can say about that, having looking at the angle again. And this is why we wanted automated offsides, because the way that they've drawn the line, they're saying that Alejandro Garnacho is offside via his arm down, which to me is you can't score with your arm anyway. And the really frustrating thing too, this was something that I mentioned previously when when it was announced that in certain leagues there's going to be a different offside rule, is that in another league that's given. And I think also as well, that's part of it. But this is why I also say I thought we were really unfortunate. Look at the back four that we ended that game with. It's 2023, and Manchester United have a centre-back pairing of Harry Maguire and Johnny Evans away from home in the Premier League against Arsenal. So are you surprised that we concede 2 late goals? I'm not when it comes to that. And it goes back to, well, if we were able to actually sell Maguire, we could have someone like Todibo in at this point in time, and we wouldn't be worried about what we're going to do at centre-back moving forward. The international break has come at an absolutely perfect time, realistically, for Manchester United, hasn't it? Let's be honest, because we can hope now that by the time we come back from the international break, Varane will be back. We don't know what the situation is going to be with Lisandro Martinez, how bad his situation is. Victor Lindelof also had to come off with an injury too. So I look at that and I look at, again, the manner of the game, and I say that the injuries that we've got at the moment, all the people we've got out, I thought Rasmus Højlund came on, and I thought he looked lively. He looked like he was a handful. Gabriel certainly realized that he was in a fight there. I thought his hold-up play was good. So I do think, and I know it's not what people want to hear when you've just lost a game with 2 goals right at the death, that there are positives and we will come good. But realistically, again, I thought we were really unfortunate. And I've come on here after games, away games in the past, and been really, really critical of United and really critical about the character and all that kind of stuff. And, and that is still true. Look at the way we conceded the first goal, right? The equalizer, you've got a smash and grab. You score a brilliant counter-attack goal. 35 seconds later, you concede. That's a massive mentality problem. And Erik ten Hag has the right to be furious about that. And in the first half, we were kind of really we were fortunate in the first half because our build-up play from the back was good. As soon as it went into midfield, non-existent. As soon as it got anywhere near the front three, it was non-existent. Again, it was a smash and grab goal. But at the same time, again, I do look in the second half. I do look how we built into the game. And I think if you speak to most Arsenal fans realistically today, rational ones, yeah, they'll give you the football banter. But I think they'll realize that they were fortunate and United were unlucky. So I say the international break again comes at the right time. I do think we were unfortunate. I do think we were unlucky. And I do think there are positives in that if we can get everyone fit, and available, then I think we'll be okay this season, realistically. It's still concerning, the away record. But again, I know people might not want to hear that, and they'll say, these are excuses. I already posted that on Twitter, and people said, oh, that's toxic positivity. We're going to be mid-table if we play like that. I disagree. I do. I disagree. I think going away to other grounds, put it this way, we put a better away performance today than we did against Spurs. We did. Second half, we were much better than we were in the second half against Spurs. And again, I just thought we were unlucky. I really, really did. I thought we were unfortunate. I thought we were unlucky. And, I can see the Arsenal people in there will be saying, fortunate. You know, Arsenal miss sitters, but that's what happens when you're away from home. When you play away from home in the Premier League, you're going to have to ride your luck. If you're Man United, who, let's face it, on paper today, again, with our injuries that we've got at the moment, Arsenal are the better side on paper. You're going to have to ride your luck. It's not. When was the last time we came to the Emirates and our goalkeeper hasn't made a lot of saves or they've missed chances? It's par for the course with Manchester United, realistically. And you know, and I know people again will say that I'm wrong. For instance, Sciliano, Owen, you're not showing toxic positivity. You're simply delusional. You know, if you're going to be angry, I think at someone, be angry with those above today, because realistically, once again, it's failure in the transfer market that has let us down, because we've got a situation where we're playing Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire centre back, Diogo Dalot, who I thought had a good game at left back, but the fact is he's not a natural left back and he's playing left back. You know, some of our players, I mean, it was Rasmus Højlund's first game, which is the fourth game of the season. And had he been fit and available and ready from the beginning, it would have made a massive difference. And it's still early days in the season too. So it's unfortunate. Got to take the hit, got to take the banter, realistically. And Arsenal fans, if it was the other way around, we'd be giving it to them. Obviously, we very nearly did, because we had a goal disallowed in the 88th minute. I'm just seeing it again on my screen here to the left of me. And to the naked eye, when they played it back to the naked eye, I thought he was onside. And then I was surprised when they drew the lines and he was offside. I still say, I know people say, oh, automated, blah, 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 blah. Those lines are drawn on. I genuinely do think if that was an automated offside, it might be a different story. And also, this is what bugs me at the moment, is in different leagues around the world, the offside rule's different. You know, in what's one of the leagues that's trialing it, Serie A, it's given offside, it's given onside. And I said before, in the Champions League, I don't actually know what rule they're going to be doing. But I did see positives. And I think one of them certainly was Rasmus Højlund. I think that it was still going to take a lot of time with him, certainly. And he didn't really have any big particular chances. Did one where he tried to sort of Cruyff it into the net. But he's a handful, certainly. And I think he had a good impact on the game as well. So we'll see what people are saying in the chat, and we'll get some to the calls in just a second. Spiky Mikey says, how is that not a foul on Johnny Evans? I wasn't too sure about that, to be honest. In real time, I saw it and I thought, was that a foul? Watching it back, I felt we were kind of reaching a little bit for that one, in all honesty. My biggest thing, like I said, was the offside. And to be honest, are we going to sit here and be shocked if we come out tomorrow and someone goes, actually, that might have been wrong? I mean, would we be shocked? No. The VAR and refereeing in the Premier League is just ridiculous. Jerome says, Zinchenko was as offside as Garnacho last season against United when Arsenal won. VAR is bollocks. They showed us one angle and he looked onside. Well, that's what I'm saying. I've seen another angle on social media where Garnacho, to me, looks clearly onside. And again, the way they've ruled him off is via his arm from sort of the sleeve down, which is the part that you can't score a goal with anyway. So to me, that's completely illogical, realistically. PC Gamer Tag says, it's a relegation battle this season. The only bright spots, we have Luton, Sheffield, and Everton. Top 4 out of question. Next to you, Brighton. Again, and I know people will feel like that, but that's where I genuinely do disagree. I do disagree. Had we played like we played away against Tottenham, we would have been defeated comfortably today. And I'd have come out of that and said, this isn't good. But I did see positives today. I did. And that wasn't, you have to remember, that is not our strongest team out there by any stretch of the imagination. Now, a concern might be, is this going to be what it's like with injuries this season? That is a thing to look at. And it should be looked at of, why are we picking up all these injuries? The fact that we said at the end of last season when Martinez and Varane were injured, oh, what a freak. I can't believe they're both injured at the same time. It's happened again. When was that, in April, something like that? It's September. And the fact that this happened again already, that's a massive concern. That's a worry. And that's why we were saying in the transfer market, we've got to go get Todibo. We've got to go get these other people. We've got to get Pavard, because we need that strength and depth of quality, not Harry Maguire and not Johnny Evans. We can't do that, because you can't win at the Emirates by playing them at centre-back. And whilst Dalot did a good job and he can fit in a left-back, he's not a left-back, you know? So I look at those injuries and say, you know, we were unfortunate. We were unlucky. It's not a 3-1 game. And I know the reaction to it is to say that, you know, we're awful, we're mudded, we're going to be terrible this season. But I did think we're unfortunate. I mean, I know it's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer talk, but it is proper fine margins, real fine margins. And I thought we were unlucky. Joe Blackman says, we played well today. We were robbed. Edda says, you saw positivity, delusion kicking in, bro. You know, again, people are going to have different opinions, honestly, on it. But yeah, again, I say we're unlucky. Let's go to the calls to start off with Amanor. Amanor, how you doing, my friend? What are your thoughts on that one?
Hi, Owen. Thanks for inviting me.
No problem.
I'm like you, Owen. I was watching that with my son. And there were positives. You know, if you look at it from how we started against Wolves, and especially Tottenham way to where we are now. So, if I just start off with the positive, then I'll come on to some negatives, which I think some people may not have picked up on. So, in terms of positives, I think you said the main ones. First for me, Ericsson I thought played well actually. First half, first hour, 55 minutes, I thought he really played well. He was actually controlling the tempo of the game, and Dalot Saka. I mean, that was impressive. I thought Dalot would be crucified to be honest, but I don't think Saka
Did well. Yeah, really well.
did well. So we got to give respect to Dalot. I don't know. Is that what you think as well, Owen, on Dalot?
Yeah, no, I agree. Gary Neville was saying it on commentary, and I agreed with him. I think, particularly when you look at the opposition he's going up against, he's going up against Bukayo Saka, one of the best right wingers in the world, and he's a natural right back. I thought he did excellently. So, no, I totally agree.
Yeah, and the other one thing I want to say is this is the first time I've actually seen Onana have a major influence of the game in terms of, especially in the first half, where I think you said this before, Owen. Generally, when United are playing from the back, when the opposition pressed us, we were vulnerable. But for some reason, Arsenal didn't press us in the first half against our back four, which was a bit surprising.
Yeah.
Onana was almost playing like a CDM, so I was quite impressed with Onana, and allowing transition football. So that was a impressive point for me, as well as Hoyland making his debut. So there were some positives. I know the scoreline doesn't reflect that, but I do think there were some genuine positives. Not to say we're gonna. Does that mean we're gonna challenge for top four? I don't know yet, but I have seen some positives. The negative one, I want to say, I don't want to say the obvious one. I want to mention something less obvious. Bruno Fernandes. It feels to me like he went missing again in this match.
Yeah.
I don't know what you thought about Owen. Is that something you sort of picked up on?
Yeah, well, I do agree. I mean, he had some bright moments where he sort of progressed the ball forward a little bit, but I do agree. And he sort of was part of it in, and there was some stat in the first half saying we actually completed more passes than Arsenal. But in terms of the final third, it was like single digits. So we just didn't, we basically got the ball to a point and then it stopped. And that point was going to people like Casemiro, like Bruno. It couldn't go forward or it couldn't stick. Or if they did go forward, it was the touch wasn't there. So I agree. I think that sort of from the sort of defense onwards, particularly in the first half, there was just kind of nothing, which has even made it even more surprising when we scored because it really came out of nothing.
Yeah. So that's what happened. So those are the next move. I expect my captain to sort of perform in that level, but I'm not I'm nitpicking it. But I think the main way you picked was that we're playing an elite team, Arsenal, and our centre back pairing in the last 30 minutes or 25 minutes is Maguire and Evans. So that's not Ten Hag's fault. We know who to.
Yeah. It's like, what do you expect?
No.
What do you expect to happen from that? Because that's not even mid-table. A mid-table team wouldn't have that. They wouldn't.
No.
They maybe have Harry Maguire, but they wouldn't have Johnny Evans as centre back. Away to Arsenal.
And it is a bit. Like I said, there were some positives, but I'm not going to be reactionary. I know the thing. I think. Oh, no, Flex said something in this live stream which I picked up on at the end. He was saying that when we scored 1-0, Sir Alex Ferguson, or any other manager, will say, when you score first minute or two, just concentrate, don't concede.
Yeah.
We score within 35 seconds to score. So maybe we're not as emotionally intelligent as we are as a team yet. I don't know whether that's a coaching issue or I don't know. These are just questions I've got in my head, which I'm not saying Ten Hag out to talk about. I'm just questioning what do they do in training when it comes to these sort of things. So yeah,
and to be honest, it's a reoccurring thing. We've seen that with United under various managers, haven't we? That sort of inability to sort of react after conceding. And you're right. I think it's a Brian Clough quote who said the time you're most vulnerable to concede is when you've just scored. Because your focus isn't on what you're meant to be doing. It's elsewhere. You're going, I can't believe we're 1-0 up. So, no, totally agree. Amanor. Big up calling in, as always, long-time member, supporter. Pleasure having you on. Where are we at when it comes to Super Chats? I think we're caught up. If you haven't already clicked the like button, over 700 people watching. Where are we at here? Let's move on. Let's go to Lucas Chan. Lucas,
Hey, Owen.
Talk to me. How you feeling? Are you sharing in some? Wow, there were positives. Are you disappointed given the ending? Talk to me.
That was the first game I watched with my little sister, and so I was like live, and she even said like, "Oh, we played really well." Like, and I thought we played really well. Rasmus Højlund looked really good, holding up the ball, like really giving Saliba and Gabriel a tough time the short time he was on. So that was really good. But like for me, my frustration is with the higher ups. Like we let 11 since Ten Hag's come, we've let 11 players basically walk out of the club for free. We've lost Pogba, Mata, Matic, Lingard, Cavani, Ronaldo, Phil Jones, Twanzadi, De Gea, and basically Greenwood and Bailly. Like, that's 11 players. And then we've only sold 5. Gardner, Elanga, Fred, and Telles. We have lost so many players and we have no depth. What is the higher ups? What is Murtaugh doing? Like, this is so frustrating. Like, for me, that's where my frustration is clearly you saw our lack of depth. Like, where's our bench? Like, don't know what happened to Sancho. Don't know what happened to Donny. Like
McTominay, don't know what happened with him either. Yeah, exactly. Not there.
Like, I just don't. For me, that's the real frustration. Is like, where is like our bench? Like, where's that? For me, that's like really frustrating. Like, at least, hopefully, Amrabat's gonna. I'm glad we got that over the line, but barely. Jesus. Like,
yeah, no, I totally agree. I totally agree with you. I think that, and we all said that when the team came out, didn't we? I think unanimously, everyone said that bench looks weak, and unfortunately we had to really use the bench in the areas that we didn't want to use. I think everyone assumed that Højlund was going to come on, and he did well. Everyone assumed that Garnacho was going to come on, and obviously he was unfortunate with the offside goal. But I don't think when Erik ten Hag selected that side, he did not think that both centre backs were going to come off today. He would have not thought that whatsoever, and that's the one that hurt us.
Yeah, and I know how at the end of the season I said I really want Maguire out. He's here. I'm backing him. Like, he just needs to back him. Like, he needs to get. Oh my God, he needs to get like match fit. He is not match fit, and I just hope his head is right. I don't think it's in the right place, but I really hope like he will like just get us through the line.
Well, I said we're fortunate in a sense because now we've got the international break, and here's hoping that some of the people that did come off today, Lindelof, Martinez, it's not too bad, and they just need a week or a couple of weeks, and we can kind of get through it. They did say that the likes of Mason Mount might be back after the international break as well, so maybe we do get away with it with that. But I agree with you. I think my biggest frustration today is those things that we've been saying throughout the whole transfer market. That's it.
I'm glad the transfer market is done. I'm just glad because we were still shaky. I remember last season we were shaky up until the transfer market finished. I remember even Southampton, we barely scraped the win. The only one that we were kind of gassed was the Liverpool result, but that was honestly just everybody was just real hyped, and you got to get up for the derbies and stuff like that. So hopefully now we can just concentrate with all the players we have now and start working our patterns of play better. Like, it was really like good to watch this game, like just how much more control we had compared to Tottenham. Like, you can clearly see the team is playing a lot better and we are moving in the correct direction. And
that's what was unfortunate. That's what was unfortunate too. In the first half, we said, yes, we didn't create a lot in midfield and
we controlled
front.
It, though.
But playing out from the back, that might be the best I've seen us play out from the back with Onana and Martinez and moving the ball around. Is we were really confident in that, and that I can't remember many times I've said that under Erik ten Hag, where that's what he wants us to do. But before we haven't been capable of doing it, but we did see that in the first half, and then obviously again, you can't do that when Johnny Evans and Maguire are on the pitch because that's not what they're capable of, and that's not their fault. But that's just that's where United are with that.
Overall, I'm just glad now we have 2 weeks to hopefully work with the people who aren't going on international break, and the people who are, like Maguire, get some match fitness.
No, it's true. Absolutely. I mean, it looks like Højlund's going to be going on international break as well, which is a concern, but it could be a good thing if, get a bit of extra sharpness. You would think would be ready to start once we come back. And look, the next game after the international break is Brighton at home. And that is not easy whatsoever.
I'm not too worried about our home form, so I'm kind of excited. I think that's going to be a good test for us because after that we got Bayern, I think, right away.
I think so. Yeah, the Champions League starts. Yeah.
So I think that'll be a good warm-up match for Bayern. So it'd be interesting to see what Ten Hag does with Bayern coming up so close. If he'll play a real strong team against Brighton, or he's going to go, it's Ten Hag. He plays strong no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no doubt.
It'll be the same team we play against Brighton.
Yeah, exactly. No doubt about that. There you go. Well, big up, Lucas. Appreciate you calling in as always. And I'll talk to you after the Brighton game. Big up, Lucas. Where are we with super chats here? We got a members chat here from Jadine says, Sergio Ramos on a free looks good right now. This performance reminds us of where our club is at. They bossed us. We didn't look like a top side at all. Sad. Again, I agree with you in the sense of, when the game started, for the first 10 minutes, I thought this is going to be a really long game because it was wave after wave. And I thought we've just got to somehow try and manage this. And to be fair, I think we did effectively manage it. We took the sting out of the game. Our playing out from the back, like I said, was really, really good. Andre Onana today, his distribution was excellent. I mean, there was some crazy stat that was out there at halftime that he completed more successful passes today than David De Gea had done in any game apart from 4 throughout his entire Manchester United career. He was there for over a decade. And Andre Onana did more passes by 4 games in David De Gea's whole United career. I mean, that is an insane statistic. And he was comfortable in all of them. So, like I said, I thought we managed that as well. And I thought we effectively sort of took this thing out of the game. Did we ride our luck? Yes. Should, for instance, Kai Havertz scored in the first half? Yes. Second half, could Saka have scored? Yes, puts it at the keeper. But in games of football, particularly away from home, you're just not going to get games where the other side, they just don't create any chances. You're gonna have to. You're going to have to sort of ride the storm a little bit with that. And with our goal, it's very clear what our game plan was with that as well. Ten Hag said it was playing transition. So, first half, it was shaky. And we got to half time and I thought, wow, 1-1, disappointing because I think we should be 1-0 up. We should have been more mentally switched on. But we kind of rode our luck a little bit there. But again, I thought second half, we were much better. We were. And as the game was going on, prior to what happened at the end, you would say United are in this. They were. So, again, for me, I thought we were fortunate. And that's not to say blanket statement, everything was perfect. And this is the thing too. Sometimes when you say stuff like that, people will only hear one thing. That's not to say I'm looking at that game going, there aren't problems. Absolutely problems. Marcus Rashford, slide Rasmus Højlund in. Midfield, I was pointed out earlier, particularly in the first half, non-existent. Again, holes in the midfield. Once again, it was a game for Sofyan Amrabat. Oh, my goodness me. It was a game for Amrabat today, wasn't it? He would have been perfect in the midfield, but that's why we've got him on loan. So it's not to say that it was entirely perfect and everything's hunky-dory and it's all roses for United, because it's not, clearly. But I think it's an overreaction just to be like, the sky is falling. We're absolutely awful. We're not going to do anything this season at all. I think that's too much of a push to say. And again, when you look at the players we've got on the pitch, be angry with the people above. Be angry with the people that have had that kind of transfer window that it results in Harry Maguire and Johnny Evans playing centre-back. And that's not also blaming Evans or Maguire either. That's not their fault, that's they're playing. So I'm again, not to say that everything's fine, but again, for me, it's an overreaction to be like, get Eric out, he doesn't know what he's doing and all that kind of stuff. And Wahid is the latest member of the UV Members Club. Welcome to you. And remember, you can join the UV Members Club. Links in the video description. It's also the pinned comment in the live chat. Skilliano also says here, Højlund's pass to Garnacho's offside goal was superb. There are some signs of good players and good play, but we desperately need 4 top quality midfielders. Again, I thought with Højlund, when he came on, you don't want to jump on it too quickly, too fast or anything like that, because you don't know. But I thought it was a handful. And I think you saw Gabriel immediately was like, oh, man, I'm in a game here. I'm in a. This is tough. This is difficult, and he's physical. He's big. He's fast. We'll wait and see what his sort of his chance conversion is like, because when you're a striker, ultimately you're judged on goals. But I thought he looked impressive when he came on as well. Just a bit of breaking news, actually, whilst I'm here, then I will get to another call. But one of the big questions today, realistically, was about Jadon Sancho and why he wasn't in the squad. Now, some people were saying, was it an injury? Was it an illness? Frankly, what Erik ten Hag has said is actually even more damning. And I don't really know what this says about Jadon Sancho's future, frankly. Because Erik ten Hag has said on Jadon Sancho as to why he wasn't even in the squad today. Ten Hag has said, quote, "On his performance on training, we didn't select him. You have to reach the level every day at Manchester United. You can make choices in the front line. So in this game, he wasn't selected." So basically, Erik ten Hag is saying, I did not pick Jadon Sancho because his training performance was not good enough. His performance in training wasn't good enough. He's not applying himself. I'm not happy with his performance levels, so I didn't pick him for the squad. Now, if that is a message, I don't know what is, realistically. That is a really, really, really fierce message to Jadon Sancho, that he wasn't picked in the squad today, not because of any illness or injury. He wasn't picked in the squad today because he wasn't good enough, basically. And Ten Hag isn't happy with his application, which is a worry, because that's, obviously last season he had to sort of take a break, and Ten Hag had to kind of, send him to the Netherlands to go on an individual training regime. And there might have been other things going on when it comes to that. But here we are, almost a year later, and it's kind of the same again. And wow. And the window's shut. So what are you going to do now? Obviously, Ten Hag's hoping that he's going to get a reaction from Jadon Sancho for that. But that is quite staggering stuff. I mean, let me know your thoughts about that when it comes to Jadon Sancho. Let's go to another call. Let's go to Sean. Sean, what are your thoughts on the game? And what are your thoughts on what Ten Hag has just said there about Jadon Sancho for not being in the squad?
Hi, Owen. Yeah, I'm actually just literally getting to hear that once you said it. And it's a bit worrying, to be honest with you, especially after the fact that Sancho was in some individual training program in the mountains or something, some Karate Kid stuff going on there. Yeah. And we really thought that he was going to come back with a bang. We really thought that he was going to end up making an impact. But now, if the manager says, for any team, for any player, if a manager says that he's not performing well enough in training, that's really worrying. That is a damning indictment on not just Jadon, but also regarding Ten Hag, because then what has been going on for the past year and a half? I mean, look, he's had flashes here and there, so has the whole team, to be fair. But if this goes on like this, I genuinely think that maybe we should just have cut ties with him in the summer. If it's worrying. It's worrying, and this adds to the number of pain points after this game. I think that the list of negatives just keeps on going on and on. Thankfully, we've got the international break coming up, but even then, it's very worrying. I don't know whether it's tactical or not, because I do think Sancho is a player who ideally should fit in a Ten Hag system, because he's intricate. He likes the short passes. He doesn't really press well, but he's much better on the ball than any of our wingers, to be honest. But if that isn't enough, and we see players like Anthony getting in, then you've really got to ask questions, not just as a manager, but also Jadon, and also from the technical staff. What are they doing up there?
Yeah, no, I agree as well. I think you raise a good point in, we'd heard and seen actually across preseason, he did all right. He was playing quite well. So what has been this big difference in the last couple of weeks is it's quite staggering, actually, that comment that he said right there. What did you make of the game? What were your thoughts? Do you agree with some people saying that you thought that we were a bit unlucky? Were there any positives, or do you think it's going to be a long season ahead? Or I guess a combination of both?
The third option is absolutely correct. It's a combination of both. I think we played better in the game than we did against Spurs. And that too, I think Arsenal are a better team than Spurs. As much pain as it causes me to admit it, I think Arsenal are far more ahead in their development than we are. And that showed today, especially in the first half. I think we were under the cosh for pretty much all of it. It kind of sounded like a throwback to volleyball, where you're just putting 10 men behind the ball and hoping for a quick break, utilizing our quick forward players. And that's how we got the goal, and fair play to Marcus for scoring it. But there was a pattern that I noticed throughout the game, and that has been quantified with the XG as well, that we did not have a single combination in our midfield trio for the whole game. Arsenal had 6.
Yeah.
You know, and one of them is encompassing a player that we're also taking the mickey of in Kai Havertz. I think he had a solid game today, and that goes to show that we are just not getting it right. And I know people are going to be like, yes, Sofian Amrabat comes in and completely changes the equation. I don't think he does, especially with the backline they've got to do today. I mean, as you said, in 2023, we have Harry Maguire and Johnny Evans in the backline. No matter what midfield we put in front of them, it's going to be a really difficult game. Any game we play, even Luton would probably be a difficult game with them a lot up there. And it is concerning. I mean, look, we had good patches. I'm not going to lie. I do think that the Garnacho goal was soft to not have been given. I was just celebrating intensely. I'm sure we all were. And to lose the game in that manner, look, I don't think it was a 3-1 game. I don't think we deserve to lose 3-1. At the very least, I think we had possession, but if you think about it, the most of the possession we had was in our own half. We didn't really thread any single pass to the Arsenal midfield, and for me, that's very concerning. And with Amrabat, that might get better. And there are a couple of positives to take. Obviously, Rasmus was excellent on his debut. I mean, I think we've got a real player on our hands, especially the way he harried Gabriel. I've not seen a United striker do that in a long time. And especially someone as young as him. And I think he was really getting into good positions. But having said that, it's more negatives than positives, Owen, to be honest with you. I feel very gutted. Like, I hate Arsenal with every fiber of my being. Because I spent a lot of years in my childhood in North London, a lot of my friends are Arsenal fans, so they're going to be really bricking it at me. I've blocked like 2 already. I'm hoping to block more. But it is very, very gutting to lose the game in this manner, that too against Arsenal. But it just highlights the problems that we currently have. I mean, I think we've regressed, you know. Like, do I expect Erik ten Hag to pull this around? I'm not sure. I still do have immense faith in the manager. I think calls of him out or something after this game are absolutely off the mark. Having said that, I think it should be okay to criticize the manager in certain decisions. And I know he doesn't have the players right now, but we were second best in that game for an hour out of the 90, and that's not acceptable, especially away from home. We had a really bad season away last season. I think our home form carried us. We were hoping there's going to be some improvement, but it's not to be, statistically as well. And it's concerning, but thankfully there's the international break coming up, and hopefully we get our act together in the middle of it. I don't know the extent of Licha's injury, but hopefully some people come back and we can put a fight against Brighton, which, now that you think about it, looks like a pretty tough game.
Yeah, absolutely. It does look like a really tough game, doesn't it? I mean, I think you're right when, and maybe this is kind of the sort of more sort of traditional sort of, you know, English Premier League old school approach to it. But if your 2 centre-backs do go off injured and you know you've got to bring on, you know, Johnny Evans, Harry Maguire, once it gets to kind of 90 minutes, that's maybe when you go, let's just put 5 at the back. Let's get more people there. You know what I mean? I think that would be my thing with it. And it goes back to mentality as well, doesn't it? You know, we conceded that first goal, was it 35 seconds after scoring it? We get to the end of the game and it's a corner, and I know Ten Hag said he thinks that Evans is fouled, but the way we defended it wasn't good enough. Wan-Bissaka was static. It goes back to, again, kind of mentality that away from home we just don't have. And how does Erik ten Hag turn that around? Can he turn that around as a coach? Or, I mean, how do you even do that with sort of these players? Because other managers have tried and failed.
I think Erik ten Hag does have the tactical perspicacity to carry it off. But having said that, I think there needs to be a big change somehow. I think Amrabat coming in obviously helps us. But against Brighton, I was talking to a mate just a couple of minutes back, and I was telling him that, you know, I think it's better against Brighton if we just put Casemiro and Amrabat together and Eriksen as a 10 and Bruno on the right, you know, just to have more bodies in that
Bruno
midfield.
Bruno on the right.
Look, it's not ideal, Owen. It's not ideal, Owen, and you know how much I love Bruno. We've talked about this before, but it's just that if we don't put more bodies in the midfield, Brighton are going to completely play to our press. Clearly, we're not good enough to have a coordinated pressing system at this moment in time. Our midfield is very easy to bypass, and if we can have an extra body in there and prevent that happening, and we can then utilize Bruno's right foot crossing to Rasmus, for example, maybe that's the way to go. I don't like it. I still think Anthony provides his verticality. I think Anthony provides his more defensive awareness. I think he kind of had a good game this half.
He did well today. I did do well today. Fairness, I've criticised him, but I thought defensively he was very good today. There were numerous occasions where he really supported his fullback, and I think you did see sort of that part of his game really, really well today.
Definitely. And look, I like Anthony. I do think he probably might come over better this season. But look, if we don't have more bodies in the midfield, we can get overrun. And right now we can't depend on Rafa and Licha because well, both of them are out injured. So if you have Lindelof and Maguire, for example, they'll need all the protection they can get, especially for Brighton, because they kind of play this very similar way to Arsenal. They have a box midfield, you know, they pass the ball very well in quadrilaterals and they try to have overloads on the flanks. And it will be difficult for us until we have more bodies in there. I know it's not ideal. Look, obviously it's not ideal. Playing players out of position is not the way to go. But can Amrabat really plug all of these gaps that we have? Look, he can plug 20, but we probably have 50. You know, like it is a lot. It's a huge number. And I don't think Casemiro has covered himself in any glory for the last couple of games. Obviously, he's been overrun, but at the same time, I think he needs support. He's screaming out for support. And I think a midfield reject probably will do us better. It's not ideal, but it's sort of patching over a wound and hoping rather that we can get through the season right there. So look, I agree with you what you said before the call, and you said that, look, it's not panic stations yet. We shouldn't be doing panic stations right now. There's many games of the season to go. We were in a worse position last season this time, right? But at the same time, I do feel that this season's problems are more profound. And whether it's 3 at the back, which I don't recommend, but whether it's a diamond, whether it's more bodies in midfield, one tweak I think can get us more tactically astute. And especially at home, look, we're good at home, but away from home, especially in the bigger games, we need to have solidity. We cannot afford to have our midfield bypass the way Arsenal and Spurs did. If they can do that, imagine what Man City can do. And it's scary. It is scary.
Yeah. No, totally agree. Big up, Sean. Appreciate you calling in as always. Expert, top-notch analysis. Appreciate you. Let's go to... We've got some super chats actually before I go to another call. Sheldon says, if we can put up a fight against title contenders, LOL, with a team that's still coming together, I'm 100% sure we'll finish above Arsenal. Above Arsenal. I don't know if I would go that far. I don't want that. The thing is, again, it's a long season, isn't it? It's a long season. It's only been a few games. Are there concerns? Of course, there are concerns. Midfield for me still a big concern. But what we have seen today is, for instance, with Rasmus Højlund coming on playing 20, 25 minutes, we go, well, actually, I tell you what, if he's fit, you know, that's another player, and it looks a bit different involved in that. Again, not to say that one player is one solution or anything like that, but you know, I think having Amrabat in there, having the players be fit. I mean, have the players be fit. We haven't actually played our strongest starting 11 this season yet, realistically, with the signings that we've made. We haven't been able to do it at this point. And I know that's a hangover from last season. And again, if you want to complain above. But I do think that if we can manage to get the players fit, I think we'll be okay. I do. It's incredibly alarming that Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire are playing centre-back away against Arsenal. That is, I mean, unbelievable. I cannot stress how wild that is a sentence that I have to say in 2023. But I do think that we'll be okay. And it is incredibly frustrating. And I know it's easy to be reactionary. And that's not to completely paper over the cracks, because there are issues. There's still massive issues in that team, obviously. And are we going to win the league? No. Are we going to compete for the top 4? I still think, irrespective of today's result, we're still involved in that conversation. I still do. Champions League, I mean, let's just get to the group stage. Let's get out of the group stage and see what happens, right? But I think to come out of today's game and be like, you know, we're going to finish mid-table this season. We're going to finish mid-table. Ten Hag's going to be gone by Christmas. Based upon a result that ended with, like I said, a back 4 of Dalot, Evans, Maguire, and Wan-Bissaka, I think is a bit too reactionary, honestly. Let's go to another call. Let's go to Show. Is that Show Raman? Show Raman, how you doing, my friend? What are your thoughts?
It's frustrating. I think up until the 90 minutes, I thought Arsenal probably just edged it, but given our away performances in the past 6 or 7 months, that's probably my best one by far. I know the bar's pretty low, but I mean, it's frustrating because it's more the quality of goals that we concede away from home. That's the worry for me. It's a repetition. I mean, we can say, okay, Maguire and Evans, that's a whole other subject, but no amount of centre-backs you have on the pitch should allow Rice just to be able to take the ball down the box, free shot on goal. I mean, that's just I don't know what's that down to. Maybe it is because of Maguire and Evans' lack of communication. I don't know. But yeah, it's just, I mean, I saw a tweet. I mean, ending with Maguire and Evans, Leicester's 2018-19 centre-back partnership.
At the Emirates.
Yeah, at the Emirates. In the fourth game of the season, before the first international break. I mean, it's a damning indictment of the club. I mean, and that's where I have a lot of sympathy for Ten Hag, because I've seen a lot of people criticizing him on social media after the game today. But I'm just like, subs-wise, I don't think there's much more he could have done. I mean, we didn't have a senior central midfielder on the bench. Again, another sad indictment on the club. And then our senior centre backs were Maguire and Evans. I mean, it's just you can't make it up. I mean, and then you've got players like Sancho who clearly aren't putting in the effort on a day-to-day basis. Which for me, I don't want to go to. I think for me that's him done at the club. I'm sorry, but
really?
I'm sorry. If 4 games in, you're match fit, but you're not getting picked in the squad because of lack of effort, and you've already been one that's been given, I don't know, a long break before. How much more patience do you want the manager to have with you? I mean,
he's the highest paid player at the club as well, I believe, isn't he?
Yes. Now that De Gea's gone, he's getting 300k a week, and for me, again, that creates another problem financially for United, especially. And I don't know, going away a bit, but if the Glazers are staying, now if Ten Hag's now saying I can't rely on Sancho, we've been finding it hard getting rid of players that buy. Try getting rid of Sancho on 300k a week with 4 years left on his contract or whatever it is. Good luck with that. Because now, obviously, with the international break, we know obviously Sancho's not called up to England. We'll see what happens in these 2 weeks. Can he get back into Ten Hag's favour? But it's bad enough players getting injured, but you can't even rely on the players that are fit because of lack of effort. It's kind of like Ten Hag's. It's a losing battle, isn't it? At the moment, it's just like you can't catch a break, because that's where I have sympathy for him. So today, it's already like no Mount, no Amrabat because we signed him late. No McTominay. We don't know what's wrong with McTominay. I haven't heard anything.
No, not at all.
Yeah, Varane's out. Martinez gets injured today. Lindelof, who's your backup centre back, is injured. Then your backup centre back and your backup centre back is now playing. You've got no left back. You've got no left back. The only left back in the squad is on loan from Spurs, who's their 4th choice left back. I mean, and then people are expecting Ten Hag to do miracles. That's where I have sympathy for him. I'm like, well, based on that, today's performance was pretty good, but obviously
exactly. I think you've articulated my point that I'm trying to make earlier on, where I'm saying that obviously, like, the performance, it was like I said, it was okay. At points are good, at points it was bad, but realistically, like, it almost shouldn't be that good when you look at the sort of circumstances.
No,
really.
that's exactly it, and that's why it's frustrating. But I don't know, someone said something like these goals that we concede away from home, especially that soft backbone, is that something we're just going to continuously see with these group of players, or can Ten Hag coach it out of them? Because similar thing happened last season. We were 2-2, bit different game, because I don't even remember last season's game quite well. We kind of got battered for the last 20-25 minutes. That wasn't the case today. I did feel we had to sit back a bit, but at the same time, if you got Maguire and Evans on, what are we going to continue playing with the high line? You're not going to do that. That's just suicide.
Or play out from the back like we were in the first half, because we just can't do it. We were never going to do that.
Exactly. Which, to be fair, we still kind of tried to do with Maguire and Evans, and it wasn't. Today, I don't remember too many times where Arsenal won the ball in our attacking third. I thought that's what we done really well. Where we're still kind of lacking that cutting edge is the decision making in the final third. There's a couple of times Rashford, you just think, normally you have the excuse of Martial doesn't move a lot, but Højlund a couple of times made a couple bursts, and I just really
thought that was one
gunning it.
Where he made a burst. Gunning
it down the middle.
If anything, he might have overdone it, but it's like like you said, I don't know if he's thinking like, I'm not used to that.
yeah, exactly. But we said before, Rash's decision making sometimes it's a bit of a hero thing in the final third. Kind of has to stop doing that. But yeah, I don't know. It's a weird one, because there's so many things that did go well for us today, but on the back of it, now we've got more injuries. So now going forward, I'm like, I think we play Brighton, and then our first Champions League game is Bayern.
Yeah.
So if we're looking at a back 4 of Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Evans, and Dalot against Bayern, I don't know, is that the Allianz as well? I really hope it's at least at Old Trafford.
That's a really good question, Show. Let's have a look.
I think that is our first Champions League game. It's Bayern.
It's away. It's at the Allianz.
Oh well. Oh my. So I mean, we've got to hope that the Martinez injury is like a dead leg or something, not too serious.
Yeah,
but
or like, because to be fair, Lindelof's one was. It just felt he just looked out of it at the end. You know what I mean?
But I don't know if you've seen a video on Twitter. I've seen a video on Twitter. Someone just filmed it now. He was limping quite badly out of the stadium.
Yeah.
So that looks a bad one to me. And you know how it is with us, Owen. When we get injuries, it's not like a one. It's normally like look at Shaw. Like we didn't even know what happened at 12 weeks.
Yeah,
it's just like
exactly.
Varane's like a yeah.
I think you bring up a good point actually as well with the centre backs too. Is like as you mentioned, like because I've seen that criticism. Well, what's Eric Ten Hag thinking bringing on Johnny Evans? But that's the only other centre back that's on the bench. So you've got to bring him on. You don't have any other choice. You're going to put Hannibal as centre back. Is that what you're going to do?
Yeah, I mean, this is it. I mean, when you put those players on the bench, you've got to be ready to use them. And unfortunately, even if what's mad is if you look at Arsenal subs today, I'm pretty sure Tomiyasu it was that set up Gabriel Jesus for the third goal, which is both two of their subs.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And I would have taken Tomiyasu coming on for us at centre back. You know what I mean? So, but that's what they have on the bench. We don't. So even they've got better depth than us. So it's just it all goes back to the same things we've been saying for the past 9 or 10 years. The root cause is the same. We used to say the same. I remember saying the same things under Oli in some of these away games. If only we had this on we could have put him. And Martial got injured. We had no one on the bench. We've been saying that for 6 years. You know what I mean? And it's like it's frustrating. And the only hope is that we have these injured players coming back soon, so that at least Ten Hag can get some kind of consistent run with the same 11 at least, rather than chopping and changing every week. But yeah, the tough games don't stop. Brighton then Bayern, two teams that I'm sure you saw the Brighton game yesterday. I was watching that thinking, oh bloody hell, like we've got these lot next, and they just had a morale boosting win against Newcastle, fantastic. And they just signed Ansu Fati as well, so that's brilliant. So it's
and they don't care playing away from home. They went to the Emirates last season. Yeah. They play the same way. It doesn't matter opponent, doesn't matter location. The thing we might have a bit fortunate is we just might have to do a bit of a West Ham. Just sit back, hit one the break.
Well, if it's Maguire and Evans, you've got no choice.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Honestly, it's gonna be a long few weeks. Big up, Joe Rabbit. Appreciate you calling in. Appreciate the analysis. Long-time supporter on the channel, member. Everything above. Appreciate you. Where are we when it comes to super chats and all that kind of stuff as well? Let's have a look. I think I'm caught up there. If you haven't already, click the like button as well. We've still got over 700 people watching. Less than 200 likes. Less than 200. I mean, I know it's one of those days, you kind of after the game feel a bit lethargic, you're devastating. It's kind of just like, I'm with you. I'm with you there, but that's what it is, isn't it? To be a football fan, honestly. What are people saying in the chat here? Let's have another look here, what people are saying. Adaz says, Owen, it's not looking good, bruv. I mean, had we had our strongest team out and we got that result today, then I'd say no, it's not looking good. It's not looking good, I don't think, because of the injuries. That's where it's not looking good. And my concern is that because sometimes when you're in seasons, you just get like an injury bug and it feels like everyone gets hurt and you go, what's going on? And you try and figure things out. My concern is that it's way too regular of an occurrence. And we were actually all right for injuries for a long time last season. And then it got to the last stage and it felt like all the games we played kind of, all those games we played kind of caught up with us. And then the injuries started to happen. So obviously, incredibly disappointing. Let's get to another call. Let's go to Eric, 10 years. Is he going to last 10 years, Eric, 10 years? What are your thoughts on the game? Man, Eric, 10 years stunned into silence, The problem is how long do I wait? How long do I wait? I got to get KG. I got to get like a little bit of a timer or something like that. This was Eric, 10 years.
Oh, later. sorry.
There you go. You're back, Eric, 10 years.
Oh,
I thought that was the analysis. And I was like, it's top notch. It sums up how I'm feeling right now. Just pure silence. Unbelievable. What are your thoughts?
Nah, I'm actually quite positive today, but I have a concern. I have a big concern. I think Shamon and all of the previous callers brought up good concerns, but my concern is this: we need to interrogate the Arsenal medic, the medic that came from Arsenal, and ask him if he came to sabotage us. Because what's going on here?
Yeah, we've got a double agent.
I think so. We have a rat in our ranks.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm quite positive, despite the loss.
What are you feeling positive about coming out today? Is it just a case of that again? We had injuries and we pushed it till the end. We were a bit unlucky with the offside. Why are you feeling positive?
I'm quite positive because the loss didn't come mostly from our own faults. I would say it was mostly individual, a lack of focus. It didn't have anything to do with the game plan. The game plan was good. Our players' attitudes and character were good. I had my reservations, and last week with our aerial threat, because Arsenal's quite a tall team, and we were not quite tall today. And I also had my concerns with Eriksen doing well defensively. Eriksen, Rashford, and Dalot, who had an amazing game. Dalot was man of the match for me. Yeah, so I had my concerns with that right-hand side. Going against Saka, Odegaard, and Ben White, I thought they were going to run us ragged. But we did quite well, man. But yeah, I think our game plan was good. Our players executed the game plan well. It was just momentum. Our problem throughout the years with United has been momentum. We score, we concede right after we score. We concede last-minute goals. Like, it's just a momentum thing. We don't know how to deal with the shift in momentum.
Or sort of, see those games out where I think you're right. And it goes back to momentum and mentality. They kind of go both together, don't they? Because, you use momentum when the goal's ruled out for offside. And then it's about mentality about, okay, how do I react? Because you listen to the stadium. When Garnacho's goal was ruled out, that stadium exploded, didn't it? And I think all the Arsenal fans realized they went, we can win this. But that's a change. It's like with VAR, how it works now, sometimes when you do get that decision that goes your way, it's almost like scoring a goal, isn't it? Because it changes the game completely. You have a celebration to it. And it just felt like after that United didn't react to that in the same way like we didn't react to going 1-0 up. And that goes back to how does Ten Hag sort of coach that into the players? How does he change that mentality? Or is that just a case of more transfer windows, more time with players? Like, how does he sort of coach that mentality, do you think?
I think it's to coach that mentality, I think it's mental fatigue also, because I believe that Ten Hag's play style is complex. I mean, most of our fans don't see how we are trying to play. So I think there should be players within the team as well who find it hard. What do I do when we have the ball? Okay, I need to invert now. And then when we're defending, I need to be proactive. And I'm used to being passive. So that's why we see that shift when Maguire and Evans come in, especially Maguire. Maguire is a very passive defender. He's not very proactive. Whereas, Licha comes in, and I even thought he was going to get a red card today with that tackle on Nketiah. So I think that the players have that mental fatigue where there's too much information, and it's going to take time for them to get used to this stuff. That's what I think. So I think, look, the momentum shift, the mental fatigue, those are things that are fixable. I'm happy at least it's those stuff. Ten Hag's game plan is good. The individuals for the game plan, maybe not so good, but I don't know. I'm just, it's weird. I'm not that sad.
Yeah, I know what you mean, because you have the initial disappointment of the loss, but then you do come out of it and go, again, we were unfortunate. We were unlucky. What did you make of finally Rasmus Højlund came on, made his debut? Did you like what you saw?
Hey, look, man. When I saw Rasmus manhandling that hyper-aggressive Brazilian centre-back in Gabriel, I was happy. Look, and you saw, I don't know if you saw that clip where Casemiro was like, I don't know what he was doing to him, like trying to hype him up or whatever. So I think the whole team's feeding off him. The fans love him. I love him because he has that physicality with him. It's an outlet for us. We were struggling in the first half to find an outlet, and he provides an outlet for someone to play off of, someone to bully defenders. When last did United ever have a striker that could bully defenders? So we have a guy who can actually bully people, and I'm happy with him. I think he's going to be a revelation for us. If it's Martial and Rasmus together, both of them are fit, Ten Hag would be stupid not to start Højlund.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I was impressed by him as well. And you can't get too carried away, but it looked like he was up for it. I didn't realize how big he is. He's a big guy.
Yeah,
he's a big guy. He's a physical guy. He's
Viking
quick.
genes, yeah.
Yeah, Viking genes. Exactly. There you go. Big up, Eric, 10 years. Appreciate you calling in, as always. So there you go, guys. Appreciate everyone that's called in. Apologies if I haven't got your call. There's still loads of callers I can see beneath me, but we've got to wrap things up. Obviously, this is the last full-time view until the game against Brighton after the international break. And look, disappointing. We're going to have to kind of, again, take the banter, take the licks from people this week. Although I feel like we've got a bit of pushback. I do. I feel like we've got a bit of pushback to those Arsenal people and say, look, I thought you meant to be challenging for the title, mate. And maybe you can argue a sign of a good team is when you win, you don't play well, and you get late goals. We've done it for years. But if I was an Arsenal fan, realistically, and thank God I'm not, but I would come out of it today and be like, I'll tell you what, kind of got away from what we got away with one, realistically, because they were, again, it really is. It's fine margins, no doubt about it. It is proper fine margins. And again, I thought United were unlucky. I did, but there you go. Anyway, guys, look, tomorrow, what's on tap? Or what's on tap for the remainder of the day? Well, of course, fan views, all the reaction from the guys at UVHQ, Flex, KG, Haley. Who else was there today? Steph, Micah, Raf. I think that was DJ. They're all there. So we're going to get the reactions from them. They'll be coming out as well. In addition to that, tomorrow, 9 a.m., Match Day Reloaded is back. Yes, Match Day Reloaded is back. So even if you missed some of the fan views and all that kind of stuff, we'll have reaction to it tomorrow, as well as the reaction to Erik ten Hag's comments, the news stories and all that kind of stuff. Now that the transfer window is closed, the transfer view gets parked until January, but that doesn't mean that there's no content coming up as well. So stay tuned for that. And we'll be back after the international break for that game against Brighton. Hope everyone has a good weekend, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Peace.